So this is kind of something interesting that just sort of dawned on me as I was reflecting about my career in sync licensing and the over 10 years now that I've been in the business. And that is the fact that my entire career was really decided in a few key areas along the way in split moment decisions, like literally a 1 second decision, and not thousands of these decisions, not hundreds of these decisions. I think literally maybe less than 5 or 10 choices I made in 11 years kept me on this path towards making music full time for myself. Because, if you look at every decision I made in the course of over a decade in this business, there's millions of them, right? A lot of them were the wrong ones and I went the wrong way. Some of them were okay or the right ones and led me in better directions. But these are kind of smaller decisions. But when it came down to my trajectory in this industry in terms of where I wanted to move, if I wanted to keep moving forward in it, these really came down to these split 1 second decisions that I was realizing just today how crazy that is actually. And maybe it's going to be helpful for you to understand what those moments in my career were. And if you do face those moments in your career, just to recognize them, that these are very, very important things. I think some of you probably have had these situations in your life where radical changes to your behavior or your lifestyle or what you're doing with yourself don't take weeks, months, years to accomplish. A lot of times it's just a very deep epiphany or some soul searching you do, and you just instantly make a choice. You decide to change something, you decide to go a different direction, you decide to double down on something that you know is a really important thing for your life. And it's certainly what happened to me. So I'm just going to kind of outline the big key moments that I can remember in my career, which were these 1 second decisions that I made that then carried me on to the next split second decision that I had to make to continue on in the business, okay? The first one was when I discovered that this was even an industry that existed. My entire life until I was 22, 23, had no idea that this is even possible. One of the big reasons why I put this YouTube channel together is to just let you guys know that this is something that you can participate in. You don't have to be an established record label signed producer or artist to be a player in this business. You can be an average Joe like me with a home studio and be getting some serious placements, making some serious money, and loving what you do for a living. Okay, you can absolutely do that. So when I was first just exposed to it, pretty much by accident, because the band that I was in, we had a couple of contacts, and one of the contacts introduced us to a TV film library, and that's how I discovered it. It was one of those 1 second decisions. The concept was fairly clear to me once it was explained. Okay, there are these companies that get songs placed into TV shows, movies, and commercials. Your job as a producer, at that point we were thinking about joining as a band. Your job as a band is to supply us with music. If we can put your music in TV shows, you can earn two kinds of money: upfront money and royalties. Done. That was a 1 second decision for me. As soon as I understood the concept of it, I said personally for myself, I want to give this a shot. Now, I didn't know what that meant in terms of, I had no idea this could be a full-time job for myself. No clue. I was thinking, cool, I'll make a couple $100 here and there. That'd be kind of fun, but I still want to be a rock star. I still want to go on tour, right? So that was still my focus. So this is going to be sort of a side hustle thing. As a band, we decided we didn't want to do that. We wanted to go a different direction. Personally, I said, I've got a lot of music to make. I make some music for the band, but I also have personal music that I make, and this might be a nice other outlet for me to start creating some other income, especially with music, right? So that was my 1 second decision. It was just an instant yes. And I know many of you that maybe stumble across my videos for the first time also had that 1 second, okay, I get it. Yep, it's legit. There's definitely a business model out there. I think I can see myself doing this. Let's go for it, right? Most of you had that similar sort of split decision, and it happened very quickly. And so maybe that's where you are right now. You've said yes to the initial journey, and now you're moving on to your second decision. Now, what I'm hoping you're getting from my videos at least is a little bit of a realistic idea of what your journey is going to be. And that's why I share with you guys the stories that I've gone through, and with the mistakes that I've made and the successes that I've had. I try to basically let you guys know realistically what that journey in front of you is going to be, because I certainly didn't have that when I got started almost, 11 years ago now. So you guys have some really valuable resources that a lot of people didn't have back in the day. So I'm glad that you guys, back in the day, 11 years, right? But still, you guys have some really great resources now. So please do take advantage of them. And that's why I put them out there for you guys, okay? So split decision number 2. I'm cranking away. I decided, yes, I want to go for this. I'm making some money on consideration fees, not a lot, but I'd never been paid ever for my music ever. So when I got my first, I think it was a $500 check for a batch of tracks, double thumbs up for months for me. I was on cloud 9. I was telling my parents about it. I was telling my friends about it. I was like, wow, I'm finally, I saw myself as a professional musician. I'm getting paid for my music, which is very rare for musicians, especially a drummer, to be able to say, right? And so I was getting a little bit of success, and I was like, this is awesome. I love it. I know I'm not making full time, but a check with my name for music that I created, nothing better than that feeling. I mean, you guys, if you've gotten a couple of small checks for your music already, you know the same feeling, right? So I'm cranking out. It's been about a year and a half. I get my first royalty check, and it's 14 cents. And this is what I get. I've gotten the sync fees or the consideration fees, a little bit, obviously way more than 14 cents. But, I'm doing all this work, and I finally see my first royalty check, and it's not even really worth the paper that they printed in, the stamp, to mail this out to me, right? This is before they did direct deposit. At least I didn't have direct deposit, so I was getting just a statement. Now, they didn't send me a check for 14 cents. They sent me just a statement to say, oh, you have to earn at least, I think it was $100 before we're going to give you any money. So there I'm sitting, with a year and a half to 2 years of work under my belt, and 14 cents worth of royalties. What would you do in that situation? You guys are going to find yourself in this situation in the future if you're brand new to sync licensing. Guaranteed, almost guaranteed, your first royalty check will not be thousands of dollars, okay? Maybe you'll get lucky and be one of the few that get those really awesome, great placements very early on. Chances are, though, you're going to pay your dues and you're going to work your way up to those kind of checks. So again, I'm looking at 14 cents. I'm looking at almost 2 years of work, and split decision, right? I got to double down. I got to keep doing it. I made at least 14 cents. I did get a track. I had to say, I did get a track placed in a TV show. I did earn passive income, right? It's nothing. It's almost nothing, but something worked here, right? At that point, I was very happy. Some upfront consideration fees, and I made back-end passive royalties. Technically, what I was doing was working. Not everybody makes that same decision, and I can't fault necessarily people for making a different decision. Everybody has their own unique circumstances. You've got family obligations, you've got other financial obligations. Seeing that kind of a small royalty check, it's going to affect everybody differently. But in that moment, it was a 1-second decision. It was a fork in the road. Quit, keep going. Made a decision right then and there. Let's go. And that became literally sort of a rinse and repeat process every year for about probably 3 years, 4 years after that. And it would come in various times. Sometimes it would be in the form of I would submit 10 tracks for, a custom opportunity, and all 10 of them would be rejected. Oh my gosh. I just spent, 2 weeks cranking out all these tracks, and not one of them got accepted. I didn't get paid for any of it. And some of it I came out of pocket because sometimes I would pay vocalists to come in and sing on my tracks. All right, so at that point I'm thinking, all right, so I have no talent. I have nothing to offer this industry. I just went into debt for this project and I didn't make anything. I don't know what to do. Again, this is the early days when I didn't have any sort of a backup plan for what to do with all these tracks that I had composed. You guys should always be having in the back of your head a backup plan that if you don't get accepted for these gigs, you have another place to distribute your tracks. I had none of that. No training, no sort of forethought into that stuff. So I was just facing rejection, big wall of rejection after 2 weeks of hard work, that kind of a situation, right? Again, split decision, give up, close the DAW or, make music for something else, or double down again. Again, just another 1-second decision. To hell with it. All right, that sucks. Moving on. I'm still seeing some progress, right? A little bit more royalties, a little bit more placements, a little bit more showing up in my ASCAP cue sheets online. This is when I first got started and I was an ASCAP writer. So I'm seeing things build, right? I'm seeing my catalog build. I'm seeing placements build up. I'm seeing royalties grow. Okay. But again, a year would go by and let's say some of my royalty checks got up to $400, $500, sometimes even over $1,000. I was like, wow, okay, this is starting to grow. And then it would go down to $400 again or something low like that. Oh, what is this? I'm supposed to just continuously grow. Every royalty check should be bigger than the last one, or else maybe I'm just wasting my time here. What is the point of any of this stuff? Again, split decision. Quit, double down. So I constantly would make these decisions. Now, the last one that I made was a little bit scarier because it lasted, it wasn't necessarily because I didn't say I wanted to give up, but I did say I want to take a break. Now, that was the first time I'd ever been that burnt out on the industry, and it actually was a completely separate issue. So money was good. I had my bills paid. I was comfortable. I didn't have any, at this point, this was 2015, 2016. So by that point, I'd already been very deep into the industry, and I had no doubt that this is going to be my job. I'm happy with this. I've got great income. I'm doing what I need to be doing, and I'm seeing the results at this point, right? So I had that confidence that I knew I was on the right path, but I was burning out creatively, okay? Creating the same kinds of tracks over and over again, getting the same kind of briefs, not challenging myself, not introducing myself to new samples, or even surrounding myself with other producers who were in the same boat as I was in this industry working. I was really isolated working from my home studio. And so I did take a moment to go, you know what, maybe this is just not my thing for the rest of my life, or at least for the next 10 years. Maybe this is going to be something that I should start to look for an exit door and find another career path, or maybe serve the world differently with my music, right? So I didn't say quit or keep going, but I did say take a break. I need to walk away for a bit. And so I did take about a 2 or 3 month break from creating music for sync licensing, and that was very scary for me because I told my contacts at the time, just cool it on what I'm doing. I'm not interested in working with anybody right now. I really want to just completely do something different and sort of clear my head for something else. I was comfortable enough with my income, with my royalties. I knew that, for a while my bills will be paid. So there wasn't that financial, but it was also that sort of idea of like, well, if I say no to my contacts for the next 3 months, what if I decide I do want to come back in 3 months and they've moved on to somebody else and I really lost my inner circle status with some of these companies? And that was definitely a risk that I was, I guess, willing to take. I consciously had to take that risk. And then in the course of that, that's when the sort of vision of creating a kind of an online, platform like I have now through this channel with Sync Academy, all the things that I put together, that's where a lot of that sort of was birthed. It was realization that I was like, I still love making music. I still love the licensing business. It's just that I don't have all the ingredients for success with me right now. I don't have a good community of producers that I'm surrounding myself with. I do love to teach. I love to educate. And I also was getting tons and tons of requests from, former bandmates and just people that I knew about wanting to get into the side of the business. And I always thought it was just very rewarding to tell people like, hey, by the way, you can make crazy money over here. You can do really well actually serving the needs of an industry and not chasing a pipe dream and just hoping you're going to get that next viral hit. Why don't you not worry so much about the social media numbers and come over here and actually get paid and be valued for your work? So I love sharing that sort of insight with people who really were hard workers, right? These are people that I knew. I know you're working just as hard as I am, but you have really nothing to show for it. You have no income. You might have a lot of social media followers, but they're not buying your albums. They're not downloading it. They're not going to your shows. You got to make income, right? You got to actually, at the end of the day, YouTube likes don't pay your bills. You got to have something to show for all the effort and work that you're putting into it. Certainly for your family and for anybody that you are supporting, they need you, right? They need you to be providing. So I love just sharing this kind of information. So once all this kind of came together, and it's obviously shifted quite a bit in the last 3-4 years now that I've had this going, it's really changed shape in a couple of major ways. But at the end of it, it's basically been those two things: creating a community of solid people that I can be inspired by and that I can help inspire, and also just teaching as many people as I possibly can that have ears to hear this, again, that make that split decision at the very beginning, that when they get it, they see the big picture of this, they go instantly, I'm in, let's go. That's why I'm doing this, right? And to try to help you guys sort of get away from and avoid, hopefully, that big break that I had to take in my career for a couple of months, which is a scary thing. But in the end, I think you're going to find that you're going to run into these instantaneous moments where it's going to be, and it's not easy. I'm not saying that hopefully I didn't misspeak and make it sound like it was a really easy decision. They weren't easy decisions, but they were quick decisions, okay? That sometimes that's life. You got to make a tough choice, but you got to make it quick, and you got to decide which way am I going to go. And once you do make that choice and commit to it, that 1 second decision can carry you for a year, 2 years, sometimes 3 years into the future because you made that commitment in that 1 second. And then when you come across another fork in the road about what you want to do or maybe change paths, you will have another very deep decision. Basically, it's like a directional button you have to press. Keep going, go this way, go back, stop, whatever it is you feel is the right thing for you in your career. So, I don't know. Is this maybe just nonsense or does this actually make sense to you guys? Let me know in the comments below. Have you guys made these kind of split decisions that have affected your life and especially particularly your sync licensing career? I'd like to know about them. So please share your story in the comments below. I'd love to read it.